Let's make our bouncing ball animation in Flash now. To kick things off, I put the ruler on because I'm going to use some guides later. I have made layers for the ball and the shadow, so you should do similar. I'm in the ball layer and now I'm going to draw my ball. So if I click on the tools here, not the rectangle tool which may be highlighted, but I'm going to go to the oval tool and I'm going to draw a ball type shape, and that'll do just fine. I'm going to select it, and of course it's got an outline on it, a stroke on it, which I don't want, so I'll just delete that. And now take the ball, happy that it's blue, and convert that to a symbol, as we usually do. It's a graphic ball, there we are. I'll put that towards the top of the screen there, and that's the ball layer finished. Now I'm going to take my guides and I'm going to put in a guide to mark the left hand edge of the ball and also to mark the right hand edge of the ball, and that's mainly because I'm about to make the shadow. Click on the shadow, again use this tool here, and I'm going to, from the left hand edge, draw my oval, much less deep than the previous one. That'll do is there, and again I don't want the edge, and the fill colour, I'm going to make that something pretty dark grey, that'll do me. And now I'll convert that to a symbol, shadow, click OK. In the library I can now see the ball and the shadow, and I'll take the shadow and put that somewhere near the bottom of the screen. Okay. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to animate both the ball and the shadow, and this whole animation is going to take place over just 30 frames. So both ball and shadow are going to require animation. So if I highlight frame 30 in both layers, then I'm going to insert keyframes, and that's actually where at frame 30 the ball and the shadow will be. They will bounce down and they will bounce back to these positions. So I'm going to need further keyframes for both in frame 15. Just using the 15, the 30 and so on, just to keep track of the frames, make life a little bit easier using nice round numbers like this. Okay, so what we want to do with our ball is at frame 1, where we have it at the top of the screen. By frame 30 we want it to pretty much drop on top of our shadow, just like that. And the shadow, what's going to happen with it is that as the ball comes ever closer to it, it's going to get smaller. So in frame 30 I'm going to change that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the option transform. I'm going to do a free transform and then just drag the shadow in. Now it's hard to see the shadow under the ball, so I'm going to go to the ball layer and actually just underneath the eye here change its visibility so it's hidden right now. Back to the shadow, and there we go. Very small shadow. Bring the ball back so we can see what's happened as the ball comes down. Back to frame 1 with the shadow. Well, when the ball is so far away from it, the colour of the shadow shouldn't be so dark. So if we just click on the shadow there, then we can go up to the colour effects and the alpha that we've used before, and you can see I've got the value 27%. You can choose something similar to that, and that's made it, well, it's not quite invisible, but it's certainly not as prominent as it was before. And I would also need to go to frame 30 and do the same thing. Make sure you click on it and you'll get the colour effect, and the alpha will automatically give us our value there. Okay, should be kind of obvious what we need to do right now as we move through our animation, all happening very quick at our keyframes. Yep, we need tweens. So again, on both the ball and the shadow layer, if we choose to create a classic tween, and then we do same between 50 and 30, then much smoother now. So time to test in our browser here, and we can see what's happening with our ball. Now the problem is our ball is going up and down at a uniform speed, as is our shadow, and we're going to see how we can very quickly make that look more realistic. So back to Flash, and if we click in, this is to do with the tween, so both the ball and the shadow are going to require the same tween effect, so highlight them both, and we go over to tween. Then when the ball is dropping, we have this ease option here, and if we put this to the value -100, you'll see that it's going to ease in, and we'll see how that looks when we animate in a minute. And for when the ball is rising, the exact same thing we do. We go to ease, but this time it's ease out, so we give it the maximum value of 100. Now, easiest to see that by testing. So we test that. We can see the ball rises and begins to lose momentum, and then as it's falling, it goes much quicker. If we look at that in the browser, we'll then be able to compare it. So there's our updated animation, and you can see that looks more realistic than what we have in this one here. So there we go, and that is going to finish up part one of what we're going to do with this movie here. The next stage, we'll have a wee look at how we can actually put some more realistic colour effects onto the ball.